Welcome to Everything Life Coaching. I'm John Kim.
And I'm Noelle Cordeau. We are the founders of Lumia.
And we're super passionate about all things coaching, and we want to share what we've learned from over a decade of coaching and training thousands of life coaches.
Let's dive into the science and magic of coaching.
So on today's episode, what are we talking about, Noelle?
We're talking about how to life coach yourself. And we're going to drill down really specifically with what I think is truly the foundation of coaching, which is awareness. So how do we life coach ourselves, and how do we do it using and building our muscle of awareness? What's your relationship with self-awareness like, or what's the journey of your relationship with self-awareness been like?
It's been a long one, and before my divorce, self-awareness, I wasn't interested in it. It was something that was extra. It was something that I will get to later. And I was so driven and focused on trying to be quote unquote successful. Now, I think awareness of self is the beginning. I think it starts with that. I think that ripples outward. And so every day it's a check-in with yourself, and being aware of your inner journey, I believe, affects your outer journey. If that makes sense.
It does. It does. And there are so many pieces of self-awareness. It's the experience of our inner journey. And I think especially what I see with clients, to center us in our topic today, is a lot of people are really used to beating themselves up and suffering, and they have not considered that the way that you feel on the inside is actually your best compass to let you know if this is something you want to do or not.
Yes. Oh, that is so powerful. What comes to my mind is obviously relationships, but even so yesterday, true story, had one of the worst discouraging meetings with with my publishers, and after it, what I noticed was my crumble inside. Like, they found me out. I'm an imposter. I'm not going to be able to execute. Like, all these self-limiting beliefs, and so to be aware of that and then start from there is, that's the prescription. And when you're life coaching yourself, because if you skip that space and you just become discouraged and you're in a bad mood, there's no growth, there's no learning, there's just a lot of reactions, right? So I think that's a daily, weekly thing. What you just said, starting with that.
Yeah, it is. And I'm sorry you had that experience. And then, the other piece of it too is I want to normalize that experience. I want to normalize that experience of crumbling inside, of having a day, of feeling like, oh my God, I fucked it all up. Like, that's what midlife is all about, I think, really, is hard lessons where, there was less awareness when you were younger. And now when the rubber really meets the road, how do we navigate? And how do we navigate in real ways? So in coach training, when you're working with a coach to do this, your coach is your strategic partner. Because you're evaluating and integrating multiple sources of information that can help the client gain awareness. And that sits as the foundation of future action. And a big part of the change that happens from the coaching relationship itself is that awareness. So here you are, you have this bad meeting, you're by yourself, you're struggling with these internal thoughts, feelings, whatever. If you were working with a coach, you would probably bring that challenge to the space of coaching, but not all of us have that luxury. So in session, the first thing that the coach is going to do is to hear what you said and then begin to connect the dots with patterns of emotion, hesitancy, your voice, and all of your senses to get into this underlying issue and support you as a whole person. Do you want to play with this? Do you want some healing? What do you need? What do you want? Do you want to do me?
Yeah, I already hear your voice. I heard your voice yesterday as this happened, because I hear you would say something like, let's talk about what is true. Let's separate what is true and what is the feelings that's coming up, because the feelings can get you to believe something that's not true, right? Which
Yes,
is life coaching. Yeah.
which is coaching. And then there's another part of it here is connecting the dots with those patterns. So, a coaching question that I would have, and a coaching question that you might use for yourself, to really hone in on self-compassion, is like, wow, that imposter syndrome voice, how long have I been dealing with that fellow?
10 years, 15 years, more.
10 years,
Yeah.
15 years. So that voice itself is one of your deep patterns.
Mm-hmm.
It's a self-defense mechanism
Yes.
that comes back around to punch yourself in the face just to make sure that you're feeling shitty.
Yeah. Yeah. And it came from my old screenwriting days. It comes from my story. Usually the the monster that's cast comes from our story. Me with my imposter syndrome, that is tied to my story, my early days, and trying to break into screenwriting.
So how do you think that voice is actually trying to help you? How, when that voice first started, how was it protective for you? Like, what did it do for you?
Yeah, I wonder. So with the imposter voice, I mean, I don't know. I think one way that it helps me is that it tells me you need to write yourself out of this. So,
Ooh,
like always going back to what's on the page. You can do this. You can prove to other people that you are, in fact, a writer. Here's an opportunity, not a door closing, if that makes sense.
it does. So talk a little bit more about that. So, the imposter syndrome, when we're saying, you want to write yourself out of this, it's almost like the story, you're taking yourself as a character out of your own story.
Yeah, there's almost like, okay, John, this is an opportunity for you to prove yourself, not in an ego way, but prove to yourself that you can do something, or that you are a writer, that you are not an imposter. So behind the imposter is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to not be one,
This is beautiful awareness. This is how it works. So, and when as we're kind of dicing through this is what a coach is trained to do. Mm-hmm. This is what you learn in life coaching. It's really hard to take the space to do it for yourself, because it requires creating quiet moments of reflection when you're in pain. So what I'm hearing from you, what I think I'm hearing from you, is that this voice started out as kind of a bully.
Yes.
In your younger years, of saying, okay, like, do better, mm-hmm. Essentially push you to do better. But what I'm hearing right now is that at this point in your life, if you understand the helping intention of this voice, which is actually growth mindset.
Yes, that's what it is. Yes.
Is there a way for you to reframe that crumbly feeling and say, well, my inner wisdom is actually telling me what, and say it in a kind way?
Telling you that you have a great opportunity to show your gifts and to continue to prove to yourself that you're a writer, or that you can, do whatever it is that you need to do. And in this case, that would be, writing a book.
Yes, absolutely. So, first, thank you, John. Thank you for so beautifully embodying this. And that's really step one when we're thinking about awareness, is to really get below the surface and say, well, what's the history of this? What's the history of this feeling? How does it relate to me in my life? Has it protected me in the past? Is it serving me now? So if we're doing this on our own, the whole point is for you to become an observer of yourself in the context of your own life. Mm-hmm. So some ways that I can think about this is, number one, you need the space for reflection. A journal is a great way to begin hacking away at your inner thoughts. I personally don't do well with journals. I'm a very verbal person, and so I process this stuff through my friends.
Yes.
I process it through trusted people. what are some other ways that you might think about could be useful to cultivate this voice by yourself?
I'm like you. I'm not a big journaler, but I do think writing is therapeutic. So for me, it isn't really journaling. This is going to sound really weird. It's actually through content. Us making a podcast helps me because we're talking about
Yes.
it. We're reflecting on it. We're talking about the process. So I do a video, or I do a podcast episode, or I write an article. Like, to me, that's always been my therapy, and it still is.
Absolutely. I had a client once who created solo podcasts just to
Yes.
be able to hear her own thoughts.
Yes.
And I thought that was a wonderful outlet. You can write your own blog posts. Even if you never hit publish, you can get a Google Doc and really do it. Talk out loud to yourself, hear those thoughts. So once we get to the reflection and move beyond the surface, one of the instincts that we would have coming out of coach training is to move right to a solution for this particular immediate moment. And that's normal and natural, but it actually misses the bigger opportunity to create a true shift in the pattern of how you engage with this thing as it relates to your whole life. So I've known you for a long time, and this is a pattern that has come up before.
Yeah.
What would it be like for you if you had a way to start permanently shifting this pattern?
Well, first, I also, speaking of awareness, one thing I realize is when I'm down, my ability to get back up or reframe or pull from a growth mindset is it's a lot stronger than I used to be. So before, when I was down, I may be down for weeks. You may not see me for a while. I may pull a David Chappelle. I'm on an island somewhere. I'm escaping. But this thing happened yesterday, and this morning I'm already encouraged and ready to kind of hit the drawing board again. And I'm not on my back. I'm on my feet again in a very short period of time. So I think with practice, and that's kind of one thing to realize, whether you're working with a client or yourself, is the quicker you could bounce back just is proof that those muscles are stronger. Those awareness.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the process.
Absolutely. And something I want to just draw attention to here is that that awareness is part of the puzzle. Because it's the questions that we're asking of ourselves is where did this pattern come from? Who have I been?
Mm-hmm.
Who am I now?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other space for consideration that most people don't get to because we're so stuck in that present moment solution set is, who do I want to be next?
Yeah.
Next. So let's push to a future version of you. What does mastery and success of this pattern look like for you if you can dream into it?
Not being shaken if people don't like your work, being more confident as a writer. There were a lot of things that actually has happened that I can't get into that was beyond my control. But I'm learning a lot about the process of publishing a book. It's learning a lot of things I didn't know before. The importance of working with one editor instead of three. So there's a lot of things that I'm learning that I'm not blaming myself for, if that makes sense.
I think you brought up a really good point, and that's the expanse of things beyond our control.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we're considering the self and we're considering the locus of control and the patterns and the ways that we beat ourselves up and awareness, implicit in that are all of these questions. Well, what else is there?
Right.
What else exists? And what else exists is a whole raft of things that are beyond your control, which it sounds like here is also really fertile soil for learning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For acceptance, for learning, for surrendering, all of those.
So, okay. So this is a great example of really how to do this. So you have this new information right now. If you were to take it and integrate it as a gift, as an offering for a future version of yourself, what would that be like?
What would I wait? Repeat the question. What would I offer as a gift to the future version of myself?
Yeah. So we're looking at this pattern,
Yeah.
the self-imposter pattern that comes around and beats you up. And you're saying, well, something different that happened this time is I have a whole lot more resilience.
Mm-hmm.
And something else that's different that happened this time is, holy shit, I have all this new learning
Mm-hmm.
and a new set of understanding. So if we're taking those two pieces that are here now that weren't here in the past, of saying, well, I'm really good at bouncing back, and wow, I can really harness the fact that I'm learning a lot. And we're taking those two nuggets and saying, all right, we have your past, we have your present. This is also an opportunity to define for yourself who you want to be in the future.
Yeah.
How do we take these pieces? What would it look like to carry these pieces with you?
So, there's another part of this that I didn't talk about, and it's been a humbling experience, meaning I think because I've been publishing without without a lot of struggle, that there's an assumption, there's riding the wave, ego, all of that. And so me having a difficult time right now is medicine. It kind of humbles me. It reminds me that writing is hard. It reminds me that things aren't just handed to you. It reminds me that you got to get up and do what you used to do and write your ass off in all of this. And so, as far as my future self, I would like to be a writer with less ego. I want to be more humbled as a writer, right? So this could possibly be a catalyst to that.
Wow. That's a really profound statement. So if I'm thinking about, the recipe for the future of your life, it includes resilience, it includes learning, growth, it includes the idea that there's always another door, I can always move on, and it also includes humility.
Yeah, humility. There's a saying in the gym that the weights don't lie, meaning it doesn't matter. 50 pounds is 50 pounds. That's never going to change. And with writing, it doesn't matter in what form. It matters what's on the page. So it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter how many people you know, how rich you are, how poor you are. It just matters what's on the page. And this was a great reminder of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So we have the recipe book. We have the past, the future. We have where you are now. You have what you want to pull into the future. And going back to the coaching process, where what a coach would do at this stage of the game with awareness, because we have so much here, is to say, all right, we've taken stock of what we've learned. We've taken stock of who we are. We have the beginning of an idea of who we want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are two buckets. The bucket that has everything else, everything that we just talked about in it, everything that we know.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next bucket is, what do we not know that we need to learn?
I don't know how this book's going to be received to the public. I don't know if I'm going to get a next book deal. I don't know what I'm going to write next. Those are all things I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know anything other than I just have to write with honesty and show up in a way that is, that is truthful. And that's all I can do. There's nothing else I can do.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is a great exploration of the second bucket. So I heard two things from you. I heard a set of fears. Mm-hmm. These are all of the unknowns. Mm-hmm. These are all the things that are beyond my control. And then I also heard a self-compass of, all I can do is be honest. All I can do is speak my truth. So when we're thinking about this second bucket of what we don't know and what we need to know, the coaching question that I have and I want to demonstrate for everyone is how to zoom yourself out and look at yourself as a character in your own life at this point. So, as a writer, as a screenwriter, if you were writing the story of your own life, Character development goes a lot deeper. Well, then here's John's fears. Here's John's compass.
Mm-hmm.
It's how you relate to those fears.
Mm-hmm.
It's how you relate to that compass.
Yeah.
So if you're actually crafting the character arc of your own life in this moment, filling that future bucket, how do you want to relate to your fears?
Oh, I want to be aware of my fears, but not allow my fears to stop me or define me.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be aware of, insecurities. Uh, uh, I want to know that writing, you should be very appreciative and grateful for the fact that you are right. You have an opportunity to write a book instead of thinking about all the other ones that may be coming or not coming and the yeses or no. So like the idea of being very present and mindful in your craft.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you want to relate to your inner compass of honesty?
Reduce the noise outside. Take in criticism like it's the word of God first, and then after that, find your own truth in that, if that makes sense. So when someone gives you notes, whether it's a friend or a professional editor, to look at it with objectivity and that this is truth, and then through the process realize, okay, this is now my truth. Some of this works, some of this doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to mirror back the process that we worked through of like the surface issue, what's underneath it,
Mm-hmm.
where have I been, where am I now, and then how do I want to relate to myself in the future bucket
Mm-hmm.
of what I need to know and what I need to learn. So if we were to start from this vantage point right here of developing an action step to act on this awareness, the view that you're holding right now about how you're going to orient in the world as a writer moving forward is so much more expansive than the initial issue that you came in with, which was I had a shitty meeting and I felt bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So we took this to a place of an opportunity for expansion and change that can support you for the next decade.
Yeah, it's about pulling back and seeing the cumulative instead of living in the trenches, which can apply to anything in life.
Yeah, it so can. So if you're working through this with yourself, John and I have the opportunity to do this with each other after years of long knowing and a whole lot of professional competency. If you're sitting at home and saying, well, I don't have a John, I don't have a Noelle, how do I do this? Something that's coming up for me are role models.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about people who have become before, who have been some people that have been, touch points on your journey that have helped you along the way just by consuming their content, their work.
For me, it's Bruce Lee, Quentin Tarantino, Charles Bukowski. It's a lot of people who aren't necessarily self-help writers, but there's something in their story or how they worked or how they saw the world that it's really impacted me as far as coloring outside the lines. And
yeah. Absolutely. For me, it's Caroline Miller, positive psychologist,
Mm-hmm.
Barbara Fredrickson,
Mm-hmm.
positive psychologist. I remember Caroline Miller talking about how most successful people experience an average of 7 major failures in their life, right?
Yeah.
And also looking at the science of grit is that the people who are the most successful often aren't the ones who are the smartest or the most talented.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones the staying power to get back up in these exact moments.
Yeah, doing the reps.
Yeah, like these are the moments where you want to like go to that island with Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Like, right? Like
yeah.
like these are the moments where it's so tempting to throw in the towel. So finding those role models, finding those people or groups that you can be a part of. Like I know within Lumia coaching, our coaches rely on each other.
Mm-hmm.
And their mentors and their instructors for this kind of motivation. I know that you have a great crew at your gym and you might not talk about this stuff, but how does the energy of the people in the groups that you belong to contribute to your resiliency?
I feel supported. I feel heard. I feel like I'm not alone. And, and also everyone else is going through their stuff too. So it's not just you. So this is just life. And also I want to say, if you're listening to this, or watching this, you can replay this and go through the steps that Noelle just did, and using Noelle as kind of a guide, and you can coach yourself in that way. So you could do this alone. You don't have to do it with other people, because Noelle just gave you the framework.
Yep. We have the framework, and also, don't forget about those resources, role models, groups, even if you're not talking about, your specific thing, because the payoff is getting to connect with that future version of yourself. And the big question, the coaching question that's used, that I want to leave us with is who will you be? Who will you be? And if we're thinking about, everything that we just worked through today, the reason why the question, who will you be, is so imperative at the point of defining awareness, is because it combats the desire to ask, what will you do? Let's get rid of this capitalist bullshit where we're always trying to get people to work, right? Like, seriously, like, this is your life. This is your one precious life. Who will you be when you are able to harness this stuff? And I hope, John, how are you feeling? How did this go for you?
I'm feeling energized. My bib is a small cape now as I go and tackle the day. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you're super welcome. You're super welcome. And so, honing in on the self, honing in on the way that we feel on the inside, keeping in mind that we all deserve to feel peace, and that so much of the noise that comes at us are old patterns, things beyond our control, the normal adult stress of living our lives, and that you can always turn both inward and to trusted friends for a conversation like this to work yourself through some much needed awareness.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. Be well.
Be well. Take good care.
Thanks for listening to Everything Life Coaching. If you're feeling the draw to become a coach, head to lumiacoaching.com/everything. Explore a new career that brings fulfillment, gives you a true sense of purpose, and a bold community to do it with.
Lumia is ready to equip you with the tools, training, and community you will need to reach your goals. If you're ready to build a unique coaching business on your own terms while making an impact on the world at large, Lumia is the next bold step in your coaching journey. That's lumiacoaching.com/everything.
And hey, if you're waiting for a sign, this is it.